core, and extend. Use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off at checkout at c4energy.com. The 2023 season series with some amazing athletes. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you first know when new episodes are available. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media podcast. We are highlighting the athletes of the semifinals again this season, and a returner from last year's semifinal series is Gabby Spenst. Gabby, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Scott?
Great.
Good.
It is no secret that last year you were one of the favorite people that I met in this series and got to know you were at the MAC, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And your family were so cool and so awesome to hang out with.
Oh, good.
And it was just really good to get to know you last year.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it a lot. It was awesome to get to know you guys as well.
So when we talked last year, the MAC was really your first major in-person competition.
Mm-hmm.
And you did really well. You fought all weekend. You were in that like middle heat pretty much for the whole time. And I think you learned a lot that weekend.
Yes.
Can you fill us in on like what that experience was like and what did you carry forward from that?
Yeah, totally. So the experience just to be in front of all of those people and, beside girls that, you've watched like on the documentaries and stuff, like before I even started CrossFit, it was crazy. And just learning, you learn a lot about yourself, how you kind of perform in front of people, having cameras in your face and all that stuff was all kind of first experience for me. And I think that one thing that I took away from it was one of the people said from the gym, just when you go out there, just take a second and like look around and just, appreciate being there and in the moment. And I think that that helped me a lot because it actually kind of calmed my nerves, being like, we're here now. You're just going to do another workout. And yeah, you kind of just learn a lot about yourself, I think, and how you perform in that sort of situation.
Yeah. And you want to soak some of that in because you worked very hard to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like that is a step along the journey that you're trying to make. And you want to make sure that you don't let it pass you by without being aware of it.
Absolutely.
So who were some of your heroes that you got to go up against?
You know what? It was actually probably my favorite person that I met there. She wasn't even competing, but I talked to her in the back was Carrie Pierce. And what kind of took me back was I walked up to her and I was like, I don't want to take any of your time. I just wanted to like say hi. And she like engaged so much with me. Like I was just gonna say hi and kind of go on my way, but she started asking me so many questions, and it was just a super positive experience. And I think that was cool. Like obviously those big names like Brooke Wells being there, seeing like Tia Toomey and the like walk in during athlete briefing. It was just kind of crazy to be amongst those people. It was really cool.
Yeah, I was actually in the media pit, just kind of leaning against the wall, and I was talking to Spencer Panchek.
Yeah.
Just kind of hanging out, right? And I've known Spencer a long time, so that wasn't a big deal. And all of a sudden, like I kind of was just watching what was on the floor, and I looked next to me, and there's Tia leaning on the wall right beside me, and she's like, "So what do you think?" And I'm like, I don't know. But she was super nice.
Yeah.
And we talked about, because she was actually coaching an athlete. So she was just kind of there to get some observation from that angle so that she could coach the athlete later.
Totally.
And it was fun seeing her in that role as opposed to an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy being like, when I was warming up, I was like on one of the assault bike or the echo bikes, and I look over and it's just like Tia Toomey hanging out with like the proven people, and I was like, stay cool.
So those are the things you have to learn. And and that was your first competition to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I know like COVID took that away from a lot of the younger athletes.
Hmm.
Like there just weren't those in-person competitions for 2 years almost,
Yeah.
and you didn't get an opportunity to go do that. So I know that you did some this off season.
Hmm.
And was that the goal, to kind of just get out in front of people, get with head-to-head competition and learn about that?
Yeah, totally. I did obviously Can West, and then I did another competition in Calgary, and yeah, it was just kind of, it's hard to measure yourself up against people in this sport without kind of going and rubbing shoulders with some of them, because uh, getting more experience performing in front of people, because like I said, that's a whole another ball game, is learning how to perform in front of, like, in that situation in competition setting. So that was kind of the goal. I put off trying to do any qualifiers for like Wadapalooza and stuff like that until I think maybe next year I'll try to do it, because I just kind of wanted to focus on building my foundation and stuff this year, not put any more stress of qualifying and all that kind of stuff. But it was definitely worthwhile getting in front of people and doing a couple competitions like that.
Yeah. So I want, if our listeners don't know, because we probably have new listeners from last year, that you are Canadian.
Hmm.
You came to the States for a couple weeks to kind of hang out with your aunt and uncle and go to their gym.
Yeah.
And then that turned into 5 months.
Yeah.
And you did that all the way up to the MAC.
Yeah.
And then did you go back to Canada for a while?
Yeah. Yeah, I went back
So
for the summertime, and I've kind of been back and forth in the fall because I don't have like a visa yet, so I have to make sure I'm spending adequate time in Canada and all that. But I've been back here in the States since January, and I'll stay here through until the semifinals.
so that complicates things for you too, right? Because you can't work in the United States.
Exactly.
And so to get the best training possible, it's to be at, I love it, the gym here in the States.
Hmm.
And you've improved so much
Thank you.
being there, right? So you don't want to get that taken away, but you can't earn money to support yourself while you're here.
Yeah.
So I know you have a GoFundMe page,
Yeah.
and it's doing very well to kind of support you through this training this year. Do you want to tell our listeners what that GoFundMe page is?
Yeah, totally. So the GoFundMe page, I wasn't super excited to start it, to be honest with you. I have like the issue of I don't like asking for help, even though that's totally like in my head, because that's what the community is about, right? Like we help each other. So what that GoFundMe was is just that. It's like I'm down here in the States, I'm chasing after my goal, and I can't work. I can't earn an income while I'm down here. And so, that comes with a cost. Driving to the gym every day. My aunt and my uncle and my parents have been super supportive of me and helping with like food and all that kind of stuff. But, I have expenses as well, and there's traveling, registration, a bunch of stuff that comes with it. So that's kind of, um, you know, me trying to, uh, seek the help that I know that so many people are happy to help with.
So Corey says, send a link. I got a few bucks for her.
Oh, sweet. Thank you, Corey.
So how do they search for it? It's on the GoFundMe page.
Yeah. It's on my Facebook profile, Gabrielle Spenst. I don't know. What do you think would be the best way
You know what?
to?
I will pull it up while we're chatting,
Perfect. Thank you so much.
and then I will put the link in the comments. We have another comment too, and I know you talked about this the first time you were on, but again, we have so many new listeners, and it's from Judy Reed, and she says, "Where in Canada is she from?"
I grew up in Abbotsford, BC, but I currently live in Red Deer, Alberta now. We moved in 2014.
And that's on the western side.
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Correct.
And then how far is that from Washington, which is where you're training?
Yeah, so it's about a 12-hour drive, but only like an hour-long flight, and flights are super cheap now, so that helps. I drove my car down here in September, and it worked out well. My oldest sister came down with me, and so when I do go back home to Canada, I've just been leaving my car here, flying back there, and then carpooling like the good old school days with my mom.
Yeah. So I found the page. I'm going to share it real quick.
Thank you.
And then it's covering
Appreciate
up
it.
my notes. So here is the GoFundMe page. You can see it's Gabrielle's CrossFit journey. What I did is I just Googled Gabby Spenst CrossFit, and this was like the fourth link that came up.
Oh, cool.
And what I'll do is I am copying and pasting the link into the comment section. So there that is. But there it is. That's what it looks like. Don't get any fraudulent ones. Make sure you go to the right one. Awesome. Now, can I get my notes back? Sure.
Get back on.
So you spend a lot of time away from your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I know from meeting your family, like they adore you.
Yeah.
And I am sure that you adore them.
I do.
How hard is it to be away from them for big chunks of time?
It's really hard. And the hardest part is I have nieces and nephews, and I love kids, and so that's super hard to be away from the kids. As much as like I love my sisters and my mom and dad and everything, but something about those kids really pulls at your heart. So it's been difficult, and there's been days where I'm like, leaving, you kind of feel bad, and you're almost like, oh, is this kind of selfish of me to go and do? But even those kids are so supportive, and to hear them, the older ones cheer me on. I have a couple that are like my youngest nieces will be 2 soon here, and then the other one's 5, but the other kids are older, and so they've been cheering me on, and that keeps me going. But it's definitely difficult being away from them all.
Yeah, and I know last year you went like 5 straight months without going home.
Yeah.
Which this year you're able to get back a little bit more?
Yeah, which has been super nice. We kind of doing it last year, as you know, it was kind of it kind of came out of nowhere. So this year heading into it, we kind of had a bit of a better game plan. And I think even next year we'll switch some things up. But it's made a big difference to be able to see my family. My mom came down a few weeks ago, like for quarterfinals over the weekend. So having her made it a lot better as well.
So I want to talk about I Love It.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the CrossFit gym you go to.
Yeah.
And they produce semifinal athletes like at a high clip.
Yeah.
Right. So we're having another athlete on Saturday. We're having Mitchell Stevenson
Oh, sweet.
on
Hey, I know
Saturday.
him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I met him, I believe he was at the MAC 2 last
He
year.
was, yeah.
Yeah. And so I met him. I interviewed both of you coming off the floor at different times at that event. And it's going to be fun to have him on this week.
Yeah.
What has it meant to be in a gym that last year you had a team at Granite Games? Mitchell was at MAC. You were there. I think, is it Carissa Stapp is there too? Okay. And I just reached out to her to see if she'll come on.
Yeah.
So you have all these semifinal athletes there. How competitive is it on the day to day? Do you work out together as training partners, or is it just you kind of all do your own thing?
Yeah. So Carissa left us. She went back to Montana.
Oh, no.
So it's
Wow.
obviously still wish her the best and everything, but we keep in contact and everything, so it's good. So mostly I'm training with Mitch. So it's Mitch and I, and we've been following mostly the Mayhem programming. as well as we always make sure that we do the class workout at I Love It and kind of take and tweak things. And we often will do the same workouts. Obviously, he will do them much faster than me most of the time. But something that I've learned and that they've helped me with is that sometimes, like Mitch and I will have very different weaknesses. So, learning to take things and switch them out for what's going to best benefit me is the best. But most of the time, yeah, it's pretty competitive, and we do most of the same things. So it's super nice to have him around. And obviously, Carrie Stevenson, his wife, is there as well. And there's
She's kind
another.
of fit too.
Pardon?
She's kind of fit too.
Just a little bit. No,
Yeah.
she's awesome.
Yeah, she was on the I Love It team, correct?
Yes, yeah, her and another guy at our gym, Justin Thompson, JT. He's another guy that I get to train with too. So
yeah, that's incredible, and
mm-hmm.
they're great people. I got to meet them last year, and
Yeah,
just amazing people. And last year you explained to me what I Love It means, because for our listeners, it's spelled I-1-U-V-I-T.
yeah.
And that one represents God as the center
Mm-hmm.
of everything. And Mitch is very much God-centered, and I know
Mm-hmm.
you are as well. How has that journey been, like, on your own and with the team there at I Love It?
Yeah, it's been awesome, and honestly, that part of me, like my faith, has grown even more since I came out here, and I think that like it has to when you're like doing this every day. Like I don't know, I just being around those people, like-minded people, really having to prioritize because it's easy. Like I find CrossFit very like consuming. Like even when I first started, it was like all I thought about, and that challenged me to make sure that like I'm still putting God first every single day. It's like I get to do this, I get to go into the gym because God has provided me to be able to, and I'm thankful every day for that. So I think it's really like just being thankful, and that gives you motivation every day to go into the gym, or like on those hard days where it is hard to be away from my family, leaning into God and be like, no, I'm here for a reason. And being at a gym, I'm so blessed that there's so many, like that's what the whole gym is centered around, and you can definitely tell that. Oh, sorry, I can't hear you.
Jeez.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's all me. I do that all the time. My wife is actually vacuuming upstairs, so I'm trying to keep it muted. Why she picked now to vacuum above
Come
me, I
on.
don't know. And so yes, they are very centered. In fact, when I went to get Mitch's pictures to make the thumbnail,
Yeah.
like he doesn't have any. But he does have a lot of like Bible readings and stuff like that on his Instagram, which are awesome.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to make a thumbnail of somebody,
A
it's
little
hard
difficult.
to.
Check out
Yeah,
Carrie's profile because they kind of.
that's where I got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this year I'll have to take some pictures of him so that I have some in stock for when
Totally.
he does well next year. So last year you told me that you love a barbell and you hate gymnastics.
Yes.
Has that changed at all in the last year?
You know what? It kind of has. So I still wouldn't say that gymnastics is my favorite thing ever. But we've been putting a lot of focus in that, and I'm actually starting to enjoy it a lot more. I think because I am making progress in it. And I think the other day I actually complained about doing deadlifts, which I never thought was going to come out of my mouth before because I love the barbell, but I was like, oh. But yeah, definitely still prefer and still would say that that's more my strong suit is the barbell, but we've been working on the gymnastics, so that's exciting.
Yeah. And Judy says she's very mature and well spoken. Parents must be super proud.
Oh, thank you.
So you've been working on those weaknesses.
Hmm.
Would you say that Mitch is a better gymnastics person than you are, and that
Yes.
that's actually good that you have to go against him?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's helped me so much with like little cues and stuff. And even during the quarterfinals, I retested test number one because I did not do good. I was not happy the first time through, and he judged me the second time through, and just some of like the cues and stuff and the way that he kind of just talks has helped me a lot and just kind of makes sense because he's been through it so much, and he's somebody that I can look up to a lot, so definitely
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, that's got to be a huge help.
Yeah.
And did, is he a coach there
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I he doesn't check his social media very much. So last year we didn't get an opportunity to do the full interview
Oh.
with him because he had shut off his social media leading up to semifinals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that make it
And it
hard to get
wasn't
a
in,
hold of him.
yeah, yeah. And so I didn't know what role he played there, but I knew I thought it was more than just an athlete.
Yeah.
So, um, let's talk about personal life.
Mhm.
What would you be doing if you weren't an athlete?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, ever since, obviously, I don't remember this, but my mom told me, even before I was in school, I told her I was going to be a police officer. And like that, my whole life, that's what I wanted to do. And I don't know if you've heard of the RCMP before or not. So it's the Canadian
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
They
yeah,
like
yeah,
have like
yeah,
the red
yeah.
surges and the hat and
Yep.
everything. And actually, two of my brother-in-laws are RCMP officers, and I went to take. So you have to write a entry exam in order to get in. And I studied so hard, and I failed by 1 point. And you have to wait another 6 months before you can go for another test. And so I waited my 6 months. I didn't study at all. I went in and I failed by 1 point again. So I was like, huh, maybe, this isn't my time to go in. And I'm happy I didn't. But I would say either that or I really love nutrition a lot. And I actually got my certification through ISSA for nutrition. So that's kind of something that I want to start building is I have a big passion for helping people and specifically the importance of food. So one of those two things I would guess would be what I would be doing right now.
So nutrition coaching, but not CrossFit coaching?
Yeah, I love obviously I love CrossFit and I love working out and everything, but in my mind I'm like, okay, so if I had to choose either having a really good nutrition base or a really good workout base, I was like I kind of think that nutrition is the foundation. So I just think that that's super cool because I'm like I feel like if you're active throughout the day doing whatever job and everything, you can stay pretty fit as long as you also take care of your nutrition and stuff. So I just think it's cool that it's so important and that there's so much kind of science behind it. And I just find it super fascinating.
That's very cool. So
Hmm.
what do you do to decompress outside the gym?
I like going on, I call them walk and talks. So I call my mom and we just kind of walk and I have my headphones in. It kind of makes me feel like I'm back at home with her. And then, I love just hanging out with my family, chilling on the couch with my aunt and my uncle, eating dinner, watching TV. Um, I just like spending time with people. That's kind of how I decompress that. Or in the summertime, especially in Canada, we can't do this in the wintertime. I love skateboarding. And so I was my first love was skateboarding when I was younger. So I kind of enjoy doing it now and just kind of going cruising and kind of decompress.
Um, can you do tricks?
I can, not as well as I used to. But
Would what have you ever tried a one wheel?
no, I haven't.
Do you know what it is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. It was like all the rage in the CrossFit world like 5 years ago.
That's right. I've never tried one. I would be, if I got my hands on one, I would love to give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah. I could see you doing that. Yeah, because you're a little longer body frame, and that just seems to fit.
Yeah, totally.
Um, so would you prefer being indoors or outdoors?
Hmm. Probably outdoor.
What is on the Netflix rotation or whatever streaming service you use?
Walking Dead currently. We're going through the whole entire Walking Dead series again with my uncle. My
Yeah.
aunt has nothing to do with it. It's me and my uncle.
Total old school.
Yeah, that or
Yeah.
I just finished watching that Breakpoint, that tennis show,
Okay.
which I found super interesting. They actually kind of it seemed very relatable to kind of CrossFit mentality ish. So I've actually found it pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's funny you're doing Walking Dead because I'm always like 10 years behind the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I watched Breaking Bad 10 years after it was out.
Right. I still haven't watched that.
Yeah. I think it's maybe top 5 greatest shows of all time.
Okay, well, you know what? I trust you. So maybe my uncle will be happy because he was that Better Call Saul or something like that. That's like
Yeah, that was the
that's the same
sequel.
guy.
Yeah, so it's a different so the attorney in Breaking Bad is a spin-off of Better Call Saul, and it actually happens it's the sequel, but it happened before.
Oh,
Like
okay,
they go back in time before, and then the last season fast forward super fast after Breaking Bad.
gotcha. So I might
So it
have
kind of
to.
ties a lot of it all together. Yeah, I
Okay,
got into that too.
yeah, I might have to do that. That sounds like a big commitment. So,
Yeah, they're only like 10 episode seasons, I think, or
oh,
13.
okay,
They're short.
that's not
Yeah,
bad.
so you can yeah. After the first one, I think is 18, and then after that they're like short.
Just need a good Saturday, and then you can get it all in.
Wow, I couldn't do
Just
that.
kidding.
Okay. So you're going to Pasadena.
Yeah.
Uh, have you been to California?
You know, when I was in grade 2, we went to Disneyland, but I don't remember like anything. I remember I had a pirate hat and I was afraid to go on every single ride. That was, and I was excited. We were staying at our motel or whatever, had free Danishes in the morning, and I was all about free stuff when I was younger. So I like took so many of them. I just remember being so excited that I got these Danishes for free. So that was my experience.
Wow. I've never been to California, so this will be my first time.
Hey, are you gonna go to Disneyland?
I've been to Disney World like a billion times.
Yeah.
I used to live in Florida, so I'd been to that one
Oh,
like a ton.
yeah.
And we had the residence pass back then, so you could just go as many times as you wanted.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We're gonna go.
Um,
We're gonna go to Disneyland after, so it'll be like me reliving grade 2.
so Chandra Middlebrow?
Oh yeah, that's my sister.
Haha,
Middleborough.
Middlebrow. Haha, that's one of my favorite Gabby memories.
Thanks, sister.
All right. So what is the goal this year? Last year you were just like learning the ropes and fighting to stay in that middle heat. Now you're going from 30 to 60, so the field's going to be much bigger.
Yeah.
Does that give you an advantage? And two, what's your goal?
I think it does give an advantage because, as long as you are good at being consistent, it can put, spots between you and somebody else. If, somebody is really not good at one thing. So I think that it gives you a little bit more. I guess it could work for you or it can work against you at the same time. But I'm hoping and I'm looking forward to there being more spots. And the goal, obviously, making it to the games is goal number 1. But I think setting a realistic good goal. I would be super happy to come, top 20, top 15. So kind of where I'm sitting now and get where I'm sitting now and then move ahead some spots is kind of my goal.
Yeah, because you're coming in 23rd.
Yeah.
And, to be top 20, that's not very many spots. You can jump 3 easy.
Yeah.
And would you say you're a better in-person competitor now?
Yeah, I would say so.
Do you like the instant feedback from the judge?
Yeah. I do like it. Even though sometimes it can be a little like on my dumbbell snatch workout last year, I got no repped a couple of times, and I genuinely had like no idea what I was doing, but you just do it. You listen to what they say, and you just adjust accordingly. So I think it's cool, and obviously you want to know that you're doing the movements right and everything. So, I can't hear you again.
Yeah, sorry. Trying to block out that vacuum. Okay. So what I said was, I can't wait to see you again. I can't wait to see you on the competition floor, doing your thing. And I can't wait to see how much better you've gotten since last year.
Thanks, Scott. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again in person too.
Yeah. And with that, thank you to everybody in the chat. I know Corey jumped in and said that he had made a donation to your GoFundMe.
Thank you, Corey.
And for the rest of you in the chat, the GoFundMe link is there in the chat. Gabby has come to the States to train. She does not have a visa, so she can't work. And so there's a GoFundMe page to support her in those efforts. With that, you have a couple good lucks. Amy Hill says good luck.
Thank you, Amy.
Do you know Amy?
No.
Or is she just saying good luck?
I don't think so.
She's just a nice person.
Just a nice person.
Yeah, she's actually one of our longest listeners.
Oh, cool.
And she's a physical therapist. And I think she's out west as well. So
I don't think I know, but maybe.
So yeah, we met her at the games a couple years ago in person for the first time. So
that's cool.
Anyway, with that, there's good luck from Yash. Your sister says you're going to crush it.
Yeah, thank you.
They're pouring in. So with that, we will see you next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.